Yeah, very much looking forward to a new year. Obviously started in difficult circumstances, but I think we've got a nice kennel of dogs. A lot of unexposed types. With only sort of two or three races on the book, and still a few nice unraced pups to come along as well. So yeah, with a bit of luck, there'll be a few sat there that can do well for us.
Yeah, if I said to you now, how many Derby possibles? Certainly, I can't ask you for probables, but how many Derby possibles do you think you might have?
I would hope to have four or five. I think at the moment we've obviously not got a dog, like a wildcat or a bale. But as I say, there's some nice dogs with only sort of 8 or 10 races on the book still that will improve a lot during the coming months. So I think a few of us will turn ourselves inside out by Derby time, and we could have a few nice dogs for it.
Yeah, obviously we'll be talking in a separate piece about the Winter Derby because I'm sure there'll be a couple of your Derby dogs will be featuring in that. The other subject that I wanted to bring up with you is your breeding because I know it's an integral part of your kennel, and I guess if we look at the way things are going within British or within Irish breeding at the moment, trainers are going to need to be a little bit more self-sufficient in that direction. What have you got out in the paddocks? What have you got in Ireland? How are things standing?
Yeah, we've got quite a few about. I really want to concentrate on the British breeding again this year. There's two litters just going to be starting to school in. Well, one has started school, and now there's going to be another litter in a couple of months. I think about 18 pups between them all. And again, we want to breed two or three bitches again this year, and hopefully have the continual flow of nice British bred dogs coming through. I think with all the difficulties in getting bitches, sent across to Ireland. And I think with buying race dogs and getting them into the country this year is going to be more and more difficult. So I think the British breeding will take a further boost through that as well. So I'm really keen to do well in that over the next couple of years. I think it'll be a good string to our bow.
Yeah, I've got a feature planned for the weekend to talk about that and the practicalities of even the practicalities of getting excuse me getting the matings and the frozen semen and all that kind of thing. In terms of the litters that you say you've got a couple of litters just about to come through, who are they? How are they bred?
There's a Drotus Wildcat Snooty Mary litter that have just had one hand slip last week actually and went very well. Snooty Mary was a terrific bitch for us. She broke her leg unfortunately down a pool in the Golden Crest, but she was very decent. This is her first litter. They're just going through now, and then when they've been schooled, the Magical Bale Forest Natalie litter will start as well, and we're obviously very hopeful for those. Magical Bale's made a terrific start to his stud career, and Forest Natalie looks to be throwing them nicely as well. They've all been reared by John Mullins, going to be schooled by David Prues, and John said they're a fantastic looking litter. So yeah, we're really hopeful for them.
Yes, of course, and I guess Derby back at Toaster will be bringing back good memories for you anyway, won't it?
It certainly will. Yeah, Toast has been a very lucky track for us. Obviously, we were one of the first trainers there. As soon as it opened, we were there, and it was just a fantastic track for us. We won everything there was to win there. I think a lot of good memories, and I was back there for the Blue Ribbon event, and yeah, it was lovely to be back. And I thought the track was excellent as well.
You're as good a person to ask as anybody. Obviously, it's a very different circuit now, much narrower, longer straights. Um, how would you assess the two? How would you compare Toaster as was as to Toaster as is?
Yeah, I mean, very, very different, obviously. I think the work they've done there is very good, particularly on the surface. I thought the surface has been excellent. It was always very difficult to maintain before. The drainage was too good, and I think the sand drained too well as well. But the few meetings I went to, the track was absolutely superb. There was a nice bit of give in the ground. It was very safe. So I think they've done a great job there.
Yeah, I think there'll be different tests in the summer, the height of the summer, which is when, I think you just identified there, Toaster really struggled previously because the track was just drying out within like quarter of an hour of being watered. But I certainly on the website when I went along when they dug it all up and saw the state of some of the drainage, and it was absolutely clogged solid.
Mm.
Um, I don't know. You kind of a slightly misleading, really, in that pipes were clogged, so you'd assume it would have been waterlogged, but clearly it wasn't. But of course, it's a very remains a very open circuit, very open to the elements, isn't it? I can
Mm.
imagine it would still be quite difficult to keep it wet enough on a hot summer's day.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. I mean, before they could never get enough water on it. You know, like you say, they could put a bowse around, and within 10 minutes it was bone dry again. But I don't know what the sand is they put on this time, but it definitely seemed to hold the water a lot better. Um, so hopefully that will sort a lot of their problems out. And I know Kevin's keen to get the fencing erected around the back straight and around a couple of bends there, which he's hoping to give a lot of shielding from this bad weather as well. So I'm hoping with the new surface they've got on it, it'll be a lot of them problems will be behind them.
Yeah, of course. And as far as your home track now, Monmore's concerned, the one thing that I always notice about Monmore is the amount of high grade races that they run, which must be a big help for Ken like your own with so many top end dogs. The number of A1s, sometimes 4 or 5 A1s on a single meeting.
Yeah, Monmore are superb. They really are, and it's a very good class of dog there as well. Like you say, they can quite easily put 6 or 7 A1s on in a meeting, and they take some winning as well. Some of the A1s you need to be doing 28-10 around there to figure. So it's a high class of dog there now, and it suits us perfectly. Like you say, we can get our graded dogs races there. We can go with eight or 10 high grade dogs, and they'll all get races. So yeah, we're very lucky to be there, and it's a great track as well. We only go sort of a couple of times a week. We haven't got the numbers to warrant going 4 or 5 meetings a week. So they're very accommodating, and so we're lucky to be there.
Yeah, I get on very well with Tony, and I one of the things I think they do very well is again great variety. To be fair, most of the Ladbroke Corals or what they Entain tracks now, they do produce a good variety of racing because you're frequently you'll have sprints, four bends, and 630s on the same card, won't you?
Yeah, they will. Monmore and Tony's, they're all in the racing office. They're excellent there at Monmore, very accommodating. And Tony's always keen to get a good varied card on as well. He'll put puppy races on when they're available, which I don't think many tracks do at all now. That's great to see. And the 630 is a nice trip as well. It's not a tough 6 bend trip, so a lot of dogs can get it, and they do put a good varied card on there. They're excellent.
Yeah, we going to do a slightly separate piece about your runners at Monmore because I think you've got one in the Puppy Derby and four in the Winter Derby. Only one in the Puppy Derby. That's a surprise. I would anticipate you to have at least 4 or 5.
We were hoping to. The one we've got is a homebred magical bale pup. We were hoping to have certainly one more of that litter in it, but unfortunately he went lame a couple of weeks ago and faces a spell on the sidelines. I thought Droop is Dime would probably be our number one pup for it. I think he's a pup with a bright future. But unfortunately, he sprained the back of his wrist, very minor, and he's actually got the all clear to return galloping. But it wasn't worth risking him, for that competition. So he was probably our number one pup for it that couldn't go to it. And we bought a nice 2 Headford dogs for the competition as well. Headford Flash, he was actually put straight into Division 1 of the trial stakes last weekend, and got all sorts of trouble around the first 2 bends, and then checked at the pickup. And he wasn't taken into the competition, unfortunately. So that was quite a big blow for us. So we've just ended up with the one runner, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think because I think isn't David Mitchell involved in him.
He
Yeah,
is, yeah. Dave
yeah,
Mitchell, Stephen Harvey. There's 4 or 5 of us. Yeah,
yeah. Because I remember, I think he was one of those that we featured on our Irish Performance of the Week. Would it have been a race at Galway? His first
yes,
race? Yeah,
yeah,
did a very
yeah. Very
decent job.
impressive at Galway on debut. 28.90, I think it was, first time up. Looks a really nice pup, actually. I think it's disappointing to not get in the Puppy Derby. We paid good money for him for this competition, really. But it's not the end of the world. I think he'll have a very
No.
bright future. And there's two or three from that litter that look pretty nice as well. So hopefully they'll be a good part of our open race team for this year.
Yeah, I guess the only thing against him is that is it literally just one race he's had so far?
Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing. He only had two trials beforehand as well, and he was still getting used to the track and made a few errors. So I thought it was a little bit hard done by to go straight into Division One, to be honest. So I was hoping, being put in Division One, they would deem him good enough to go in the competition, but it wasn't to be. It was a messy debut. He got, as I say, got badly crowded on the bend when he looked like he would go around in front. And then he just got all lost and checked at the pickup, and it was one of those races. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but I think he'll be a real nice dog for this year, hopefully.
Yeah, so putting two subjects together really. I think David was involved in sort of helping to assist the management in getting the televised trial sessions going. I assume they must be a big help for the owners, being able to see the dogs trial.
It's been a massive plus, actually. I think there's been a lot of good work done over the lockdown period as regards to improving the everything for owners, being able to see the dogs trials. I mean, it's a massive help for ourselves as well. I mean, obviously I can't be at every meeting myself, so to be able to log on within an hour or two and watch all your dogs trial is a massive plus. Yeah, so I think there's been a lot of good things done lately through social media, and it seems to have got the tracks to up their game a little bit for everyone.
Obviously, Kevin, given the current weather conditions, life must be quite difficult for all trainers. How are you coping, in terms of the facilities? I know you've got a beautiful gallop there, presumably paid for by the Wildcat. I don't know. It looks as though it's been paid for by a Derby winner.
It was paid for, yeah, yeah.
How's how are you being inhibited by the weather? I mean, how close are the dogs to full fitness?
They're not as sharp as I'd like them. I mean, our gallop is a sawdust gallop, so it's very vulnerable to the weather. If you get the odd day of frost, you can harrow it and it'll run perfectly fine. But if you get temperatures like we've had around here for the last couple of weeks now, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
It gets to the point where it's just too hard and you can't use it, and it's like that at the moment, unfortunately. And I'm a big believer in galloping. I love to gallop the dogs. And most of our dogs will go up every 2 or 3 days if that's what they need. So that's a big loss to us when that's out of action.
Yeah. What's your kennel routine like at the moment? Presumably the dogs are just out and in really quickly, are they?
They are, yeah. I mean, most of the dogs don't even want to get off the bed to go in the paddock half the time. They hate the cold weather.
Yeah.
So it's a quick spin out in the paddocks for an empty out. We'll keep the coats on them and walk them. That's all we've been doing really is the walking at the moment. So we can't gallop at the minute, unfortunately. So keeping the coats on and going for a nice walk in the woods is about all we can do at the moment.
Yeah. Do you get obviously training's varied? Do you coat them up at night, or you central heating, or how does it work?
We coat all ours up at night. Yeah. We've got radiators on all the way through. But I mean, our kennels are quite big, so they would need rugs on as well. Especially, we're down to -6 and -7 at the moment. So, but thankfully, with all the radiators and the coats, they stay perfectly okay.
Wonderful. Well, hopefully the next time we're speaking, we've got a break in the weather. Maybe we might have a few people out there post-COVID, and look forward to a nice summer.
Yeah, that would be nice. It'd be lovely when owners can get back racing and we can all enjoy a pint and enjoy the dogs and get back to how things were again.
Brilliant stuff. Kevin, thank you for your time.